let's record the lesson. Okay. So yeah, as always, I want to start with a grammar part, and you will see how important this is, not only for us to review it, but also for us to see it, and we're going to see how important it is for the test. Okay. So let me share here very quick. Okay, we're going to see today these famous relative clauses, and we are going to divide these relative clauses in two, right? We're going to start with defining relative clauses, right? So defining relative clauses give essential information so that we can identify who or what is being talked about. The relative clause follows immediately after the noun referring to the persons or things we're talking about. So when we are defining exactly, when defining relative clauses are going to be talking directly about the person, right? And this is the most important thing, gives what? Essential information, right? So for example, I say the woman who, this who is talking about who? This who is talking directly about the woman, right? So the woman who showed the most determination got the job, right? So in this case, defining relative clauses talk about essentially and directly about the subject, right? Remember the subject. So if it's a person or a thing, so it directly talks about the subject, in this case, the woman, right? So that will be the defining relative clause. Now we're gonna go back, or we're gonna continue. Oh, let me just give you some extra information about the defining clauses. I'm sorry, we do not put commas at the beginning or end of defining relative clause. And you will see how important this is in a moment regarding the test, okay? Mostly on part one of the test. You will see how important these commas are, again, depending on the right, the activity that we're going to see in a moment. So we do not put commas on defining ones, and we can sometimes omit the relative pronoun. The relative pronoun must be used when it is the subject of the following verb. Remember what I was telling you? And for example, here, she showed me photos of the gorillas, which or that, right? Because we're talking about animals. So which or that she had studied. Remember that which or that is talking about the gorillas, right? Or we can say she showed me photos of the gorillas, which or that lived nearby. The relative pronoun must be used here because it is the subject of lived. So before we continue with the other ones, any questions regarding defining relative clauses? Remember, defining ones are to talk about essential information, and it goes directly, the relative pronoun goes directly with the subject, in this case, the woman who showed, right? Any questions regarding defining relative clauses before we go to the undefined? Is it clear? And you will see how important this is. Again, in a moment, I will show you how important this is related to the test that we are planning to do, hopefully at the end of this year. Okay, we go to non-defining relative clauses. Non-defining relative clauses give non-essential. So they are totally the opposite of defining, right? Defining gives essential information, but these ones, they give non-essential or extra information about something or someone, okay? For example, I can say here, her curriculum, which made a big impression on the interviewers, helped her get the job. So you see, in this case, I am giving extra information, right? But I just want to, for you guys to write it down, hopefully there, that the non-defining are gonna be always surrounded by commas. So you see here, there's a comma here, and there's a comma here, right? So every time we see, mostly, again, remember part one of the reading and use of English test, where there is a text, 8 different gaps, and you need to choose A, B, C, or D. Remember that? Well, remember that one of the topics was relative clauses, right? Or relative pronouns. Why is this important? Because in the practice or in this part of the test, you might see or they might include you a non-defining relative clause. So if you know that it's surrounded by commas, definitely is a non-defining. And in a moment, I will let you know why that is important. Hold it there for a moment, okay? Well, of course, we use a comma before and immediately after the clause, and we cannot omit the relative pronoun in non-defining relative clauses. Now, this is the most important part regarding this one, the non-defining, right? We can say many relative clauses are introduced by a relative pronoun. We know that which and that refer to things, right? But this is the most important thing. But that is not used in non-defining relative clauses. So only in defining. For example, if I say the study that she published last month is remarkable. But here we see a comma and we see a comma here. That means that if we are talking about things in a non-defining relative clause, we cannot use that. We can only use which. And that might be like a trick that they're going to put in the test. Okay. So remember part one, there's going to be a sentence or a gap, you know, a text and a gap, and you need to choose A, B, C, and D. And maybe one of those, or maybe one of the exercises, you're going to find a relative, sorry, a non-defining relative clause, and you see commas. And in the options, they're going to put maybe which, that, and something else. But you might say, well, if I'm talking about things, why not using also that or which, right? Well, if it is a non-defining, you cannot use that. You can only use which, right? And how do we know if it's a non-defining? Well, if it starts with a comma and it ends with a comma. Any questions regarding this? Please ask me, because I know this can be a little bit confusing, but are you getting what I'm trying to tell you? Hello, are you guys there?
Hello.
Hi. Do you get what I'm saying, or do you have questions?
Well, just I need to say that it's Lindsay, no Jose Paulo.
Okay, yes, I was confused.
I can see that's the name that it shows.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, or I'm not clear about the defining or not defining.
Okay. Let me help you with that right away. Okay. Okay. So let me go here. Well, let me here. Okay. Okay. Defining one is when we are talking about something essential, right? For example, I can say my wife, who is Brazilian, let me see, my wife, who is Brazilian, let me see, lives in, let me see, is a very good cook. Let's see, it's a very, okay. A question, Lindsay, and for everybody, do you think this is like defining or non-defining?
You said defining is something essential, right?
Correct.
So for me, this is not essential.
Okay, it is not essential. So the thing here is that since it is not essential, I need to put here a comma, and I need to put here a comma. Okay, so okay, all the non-essential relative clauses, they need to be surrounded by commas. always. Okay. For people is very easy. If I'm going to be talking about people, I'm going to be always using who. But what if I'm using a thing? Maybe, or yeah, maybe I can say my cat, right? Because we can also say like also animals, right? In certain way, we use which or that, right? But in this case, if I say my cat, or let me put it here like a little, right? It's a lot, whatever, right? Okay, I'm using very simple questions or sentences just for you guys maybe to understand it better. So here, for example, here. So we are talking about, remember, part 1 of the reading and use of English test, where they're gonna be a text, or in this case a sentence, and you need to choose A, B, C, or D. And let's say that A says that, B, they put let's say they put something else, for, right? And C, maybe we say which, and D, let's put, I don't know, must. I'm just using a very quick example. So here, this is going to be definitely you're going to find something like that in part 1 of the reading and use of English test. So which option will you choose here?
That.
Well, we might think that is that, but why not which? Because that and which, we use it for things. So you see how important this is. Okay.
Yeah.
So because it is a comma, because there's a comma here and there is a comma here, that means that is non-essential, right? So
Non-essential and non-defining is the same.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I have this essential in my head. I'm sorry. Non-defining. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Please. Again.
You said, for example, that is not used in non-defining relative clause.
Correct. So please, if you see that because again, I'm a little bit overwhelmed today with a lot of things. So please, if you see that I'm talking something nonsense, let me know. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Non-defining, right? So in this case, this is non-defining. Why? Because we have here a comma and a comma. Right?
Okay.
So remember, for non-defining clause, or like a clause, a non-defining clause, we cannot use that for things.
So in this case, it is which.
So in this case, it is which. Okay.
Okay, I understand that, and I understood that not defining, I have to use commas. I don't know how to identify if it is defining or not defining.
Yeah, the non-defining is going to be always with commas, always. The defining one, no commas. Okay, is it clear?
Okay.
So for defining, yes, we talk about essential information, right? I don't know, we can say, I don't know, talking the same thing about my wife, who is vegetarian, is allergic is allergic to, I don't know, it's allergic, well, I'm just to meat, right? So
shrimps.
Well, yeah, to shrimps, yeah, we can say that. Yeah, that's a better one. Okay. Shrimp, no, shrimps. Let's see here.
P.
Shrimps. Yes, yeah, P, I'm sorry. Yeah, my wife, who is vegetarian, is allergic to shrimps, right? So in this case, do we see commas here? We don't see any
No.
commas, right? So that means,
No.
what is this clause? What is it?
Essential.
Defi-
Essential.
Defining.
Yeah, defining, right? Defining, okay? So that means that here, if it is a thing, well, in this case, we're talking about a person, but if it is a thing, we can definitely use both. We can use that, or we can use which.
Okay, in that case, if I wrote my wife, comma, who is vegetarian, comma, is allergic to shrimps,
Mhm.
okay, this is gonna be an non-defining sentence.
Non-defining,
Okay.
yes.
I could say who or that.
If it is a thing, yes, we can say here, let's say, I don't know,
Yeah,
we writing my wife, we say my cat, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, so we need to change it. We can use for, if it doesn't have any commas, that means that is essential, that is defining, right?
Defining.
So in this case, we can say my cat, and you can choose whatever you want, that, or you
That.
can choose which, whatever will be the same, okay?
Okay.
But, go ahead, sorry.
No.
But so is it clear now? I just really wanted to take the time to explain you this because this is gonna be part of exercise 1 in the test, right? So
Sorry,
now
with a
you know.
comma,
Mhm.
it's the same.
With 2 commas, that means that the information is not essential. I just want to give something extra information. But if the information is important and is essential,
Okay.
then no commas.
Okay, but in this case, you wrote that, and you said that I can't use that with a non-defining sentence, and you wrote comma.
No,
This is a non-defining sentence.
No,
or
I put a comma here
is
just to
this-
separate that we can use which or that, like this. We can use both.
Okay, yeah.
Use both,
Okay, in
that or
this
which.
case, I can use both
Mhm.
because
So-
we don't have a comma. If we had a comma,
2
I
commas, right?
have
2 commas. This one.
okay,
and
yes,
this.
2 commas. I have to use which.
Only which if we're
Okay.
talking about a thing.
Okay, now now I am clear.
Okay. And I know this can be a little bit confusing, but I really wanted to take the time to help you with this because you're going to definitely find an exercise like this one in the test, right? So you might say, okay, what can I choose? Well, commas, definitely only which, right? Because they will like to confuse us a little bit and to see if we are really in that C1 level, right? So I really wanted to take the time to help you with that. Mhm.
Professor, one question is because I am late, so
Uh-huh.
I am confused. Is there some difference between commas or not? Or
Okay, well,
that word that I have to use, or that's a matter?
okay, for example, we have here the defining clauses. In this case, the woman who showed the most determination got the job. It doesn't have commas, so it gives me essential information.
Okay, I know.
But the one that the one that has commas, like for example this one, her curriculum, which made a big impression, the use comma,
It's
help
more
her to get a
information.
job. That's extra information.
But the word which, who, I use them always. That's a
Okay.
matter if we have commas or not.
If we have commas for things, we cannot use that.
Okay, yes, sir.
No.
Commas?
No that. Only
that.
which.
Only wish. Okay, that's.
And who, yes, who we can use it for all of them. Okay.
And who?
For both of them.
Yeah, with commas or without commas.
No, without commas.
Okay, only things I use that. I use which if there are extra information.
Correct, and we have it here.
Extra information. If I can use okay.
And we have it here. You see, which and that refer to things, but that is not used in non-defining relative clauses.
Okay.
And this is the example, right? The study that. So in this case, you see, we don't have commas. Well, let's just put that, Oh, we have
Okay.
commas. Oh, we can only use which. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Now we
Okay,
know
thanks.
that you're welcome. We know that who refers to people.
People.
That's very easy,
Mhm.
right? Diane, who has been working
Yeah.
for non-defining or defining, right?
Whom is the same.
Let's see. Let's go with that one.
Okay, okay.
Whom refers to people if they are the object of the clause. You know what the object, el predicado, right? So whom refers to people if they are the object of the clause. It is formal and not common in modern English, right? For example, Professor West, with whom I worked recently, has won the Nobel Prize, right? But that is only if the if it refers to the object of the sentence. Now, what about whose? Well, whose can be used with things or people and expresses possession or belonging, right? For example, she's a scientist whose work. We can maybe transfer like whose work. It can be also like her work, right? It's like possessive, right? Her work, but in this case, I'm using it as a relative pronoun, right? So whose work is world famous. Okay. Now, very easy. When refers to time. She described the moment is talking about time, when she first saw her baby dog. And where refers to place, right? She spent many years in China, where she worked in a bit, right? So, so I know this is something that we have already seen, but sometimes we forget about these specific things, right? But I think that the non-defining and defining with commas, I think that probably we didn't know about that, right? That we cannot use that with with uh with a non-defining, right? So that was the grammar part that I wanted for you guys to see today.
Okay.
Any questions before we continue? It's kind of interesting, right? This kind of interesting, but that's why I like Cambridge a lot, because in the preparation of the test, we learn a lot, right? As teachers
A
also.
lot of details.
A lot of details. You're right, Susanna. Yeah, you're right. A lot of details, but okay. So well, remember today we're going to see part 4 of the reading and use of English test. We have seen part 1, part 2, part 3 last week, and today part 4. So are you guys ready for that? I would like for sometimes I feel like I am alone here. Please, I want some feedback from you. I know it's difficult, and sometimes we don't like to put cameras and so on, but maybe once in a while, if I see your faces, it will be
Yeah.
maybe better for me. But I understand that sometimes you're not, maybe you don't want to, but or at
It is
least
because my daughters, they come in and out from
yeah, don't
many times.
again I understand. I have 4 daughters, right? So but again, sometimes it's good to see a face or two, right? Because sometimes I feel like I'm here just talking to the to a chair. But anyways, okay, so let's see part 4 of the reading and use of English. Let me see here. Okay, just give me a second. Well, before going here, okay, part 4 is going to be something like this. It's going to be something like this. What is it about? And please pay attention, because I believe that part 4 is one of the most difficult parts. Okay, so I really want for you to pay attention on this part. Okay, in part 4, they're going to show us a sentence like this one. For example, have you got a belt that is cheaper than this one? So they're going to show us a sentence, and they're going to show a keyword. In this case, the keyword is less, right? Less. Now, what do we need to do? Well, they give us part of the sentence, but what we need to do is, using the keyword, we need to write from 2 to 5 words. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be even 5 words, so that the second sentence will have the same meaning as the first sentence. Something that can help us, dear teachers, is we can, for example, cross out the parts of the sentence that are repeated. For example, here we have you got, right? We have you got? So maybe we can, and we also have here, have you got? So maybe we can just cross it, right? And we have then this one also, right? Repeats in the first one and second. So maybe we can cross them out, okay? So why am I doing this? Because this can help us to know what do I need to change using the keyword. So now I am more focused on this. So this part of the sentence, is what I need to change, or sometimes not, maybe I don't have to change it all, but I need to include this keyword over here so that this sentence can have exactly the same meaning. So I don't know if some of you already have the answer. Again, have you got a belt that is cheaper than this one? Using
Like
less? Okay, Susanna, do you have the answer? Help me, please.
I don't know, but maybe like a less expensive belt. I don't know
Okay.
if it makes sense, but
No, actually, that is the answer. Very good. So have you got a less expensive? So perfect, because it can be from 2 to 5 words. So perfect. We need to write, have you got a less expensive belt than this one? Right? So maybe let's write it down. Let's write it down over here. A less expensive belt. Perfect, right? So that would be the answer. Have you got a less expensive belt than this one? Now, the second sentence has exactly the same meaning as the first one using the keyword, which is less. In this case, remember, it changes a little bit from part 3. Remember that in part 3, we need to change the word. Remember, we need to change, we need to add a prefix or a suffix to change it to a noun or to a verb, right? But here, we cannot change the keyword. The keyword needs to be exactly the same word. Okay, so that's part 4.
I have a question.
Please, Millie.
May I say, have you got a belt less expensive than this one?
No,
No.
it, it needs to follow that a less expensive belt.
Why?
Well, it's because
the order of the adjective at the beginning of the phrase.
Yeah, exactly. The order of the adjectives. Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. So is it clear, this part? And we're going to maybe start with maybe easier sentences just for us to be able to get it. In the test, there are, if I'm not wrong, there are 6 sentences like this one. And in the test is 2 points each. You can even get 1 point or 2, right? Depending on how many words you get. But there is a rule that even Cambridge says, or like a little advice, that if it's going to take you more than 3 or 4 minutes to get the answer, go to the next one. Why am I telling you that? Because sometimes a lot of people they try to think and think and think, oh, how can I do this? How can I? And people loses a lot of time in this part. So please remember that you only have 1 hour and a half, and you also need to transfer or have the time to transfer all the answers into the answer sheet. So maybe maybe please don't try to lose a lot of time in this part, okay? So if you think that, okay, no, this is gonna take more than 3 minutes, or maybe I'm not gonna even find the answer, go to the next one. Oh, and go to the next one, right?
Y bateo.
Because yes, you can even yeah, you can even batear if you want. but please, it's an advice that I really want to tell you as a teacher that I've been teaching this for a long time. Please don't lose time in this part if you don't
Until 2
understand.
minutes. 2 minutes each one.
Yeah, I will say
1
2
minute.
minutes. Well, 2 minutes each one is okay.
Okay.
But if you think that it's gonna take longer, go to the next one, right? Because
Okay.
yeah, this is something very, very important. Okay,
Okay.
do you guys want to practice this? I have here, let's see how it goes, and then we can check it all together. I have these ones over here. I don't know if they are like big enough for you, or maybe just to put it bigger, let's do at least the first five, and yeah, let's do the first five. And please see, well, if you have questions, let me know, but let's see how it goes. Let's apply that rule that I was telling you. If it takes more than 2 minutes, or if you see that you can get the answer, go to the next one, okay? And let's see how we can do with it. So I'm gonna give you some minutes for you to do at least from 1 to 5, and then we can check them right away. So let's start doing this part 4 of the reading and use of English test.
Teacher, can you send this picture to us later? It's because I'm trying to write everything down and it's
Oh, okay,
kind of,
okay. Sure, sure, don't
I'm
worry.
going to write only the answers.
Okay, sure. Actually, let's see, we can do that right now. Let me just send you this very quick. Okay, I sent it to you already in the